Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Velia and I'm here again with part 2 of my Puglife series where I give you my advice on how to find and join the best pugs in World of Warcraft. Today's video is going to focus on how to find a good and successful pug. Good groups require skilled and knowledgeable leaders, agreeable raiders, and time. While many groups are made each day, only a handful of these groups are successful. In this video, we will cover the warning signs of a bad group and best practices when looking for a successful group. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you find this video helpful. Let's start with warning signs. The first thing to look out for is the raid leader's item level. If the leader's item level is under what they're requiring of the raid, chances are they're probably looking for a carry. There is an easy way to spot this. If you're using the in-game group finder and the item level requirement is written in the title or the description of the group and it's higher than what your current item level is, chances are the raid leader is most likely below the item level requirement. You can follow up by searching for the raid leader's character on worldofwarcraft.com and comparing. The reason that we know this is because the Group Finder tool does not allow raiders to see groups with item level requirements above their own. In addition, it does not allow raid leaders to set the group's required item level above his or her own item level, as you can see here. However, tricky raid leaders try to get around this by simply not requiring an item level and just writing it in the description. Guys, don't ever carry someone for free. People get paid for that kind of stuff. Secondly, you also want to make sure the item level requirement is enough to meet the needs of the fight. You typically want to avoid low item level requirements on tougher boss fights. While gear definitely isn't everything, numbers are certainly a factor on some fights. For example, a group with an item level requirement of 630 for Heroic Archimond might not be the most successful or easiest group to be a part of. The next warning sign to look out for is the title and description of the group. Try to avoid groups with titles and messages written in all caps. Descriptions that include statements like "no noobs allowed" and "one fail equal kick" are probably tied to groups with temperamental and off-putting raid leaders. People with no patience typically just don't make good raid groups because they're just looking to serve themselves. These are the kind of guys that will threaten to kick you if you roll on a piece of gear they want, or they'll kick your friend for taking 2 minutes to go to the bathroom. So yeah, my advice is to completely avoid groups like this. One of the last warning signs could be reserved loot. Reserved loot is less of a problem with the recent changes made to the looting system, but it is still important to mention that many groups, other than guild or weekly groups, which reserve loot, are run by toxic leaders. People who expect other people to carry them through a boss just to be rewarded with loot because they quote-unquote formed the group just make no sense, and they typically don't care about the raid. It's common for the raid leader to simply leave after getting his or her needed piece of gear too, so yeah, I would avoid groups with reserved loot unless it's a weekly or a guild group. My final warning sign is the instant invite. If you sign up for a group and get instantly invited, that means the raid leader has auto-invite selected. If this is for a raid and not a farming group, I would leave the group and find another. A good raid leader is going to take the time to see if his or her raiders are prepared, knowledgeable, and geared for the fight. Next up, let's talk about some best practices. Something that I really like to do is look for guild groups who need more raiders. Typically, guild groups are more successful than your typical pug for a few reasons. First, they've all raided with each other before and will be familiar with each other's playstyles. Next, they just last longer. Guilds typically have a set raiding time and will continue to play for that time period even if they're having trouble on a boss fight or two. Lastly, they will most likely be using a voice communication system. Communication is key to a great pug, and guild groups always have a vent, a TeamSpeak, or a Discord server that they use to communicate with each other in. I definitely recommend looking for a guild group when starting your search. However, if no guild groups are running at the time that you're looking, there are still some things that you can look out for when searching for a successful group. Calm and efficient raid leaders will typically write helpful descriptions. Try to look for leaders that put their experience in the description. You definitely want to be led by someone who is experienced and knows the fights. Also, try to find out the group's goals. Look for words such as full clear or clean and simple kills in the description. Finding groups with the same priorities as you will help you be more happy with your pug choice. And that pretty much sums up my video on how to spot successful and toxic groups. I hope this guide helped you. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below, if there was something that I missed, or if you have questions or even need further explanation about anything that I went over. I'll be happy to answer all of those questions to the best of my knowledge, so don't hesitate to put them down there. My next Puglife video will cover how to get invited to a group once you've found the one that looks successful. Thanks again, guys, so much for watching. I hope to see you again next time, and that's it. Bye.